have Jody and Ashlyn with us today so that we can get a little bit of insight into how the lockdown has been going for you guys in America. And we can maybe share some of your insights into the whole experience with other children who have got ADHD in South Africa and in America as well. So, Ashlyn, how old are you?
9.
You're 9 years old. And what school do you go to?
AA.
Okay, and what grade are you in?
3rd.
You're in the 3rd grade, wow. And Ashlyn, what does ADHD mean to you?
Anxiety. My brain works differently.
Okay, your brain works a little bit differently, yeah. And how have you found this lockdown? Has it been easy for you or has it been difficult?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Can you tell me a little bit about the things that have been easy for you?
Spending time with my mommy.
So you get to be with your mom, so you feel safe because you can be with mom. And what has been a bit hard for you, Ashlyn?
No schedule. My routine's almost up. Yes.
Yeah, you prefer to have a little bit more structure and routine in your day. And Ashlyn, what do you miss the most?
My teacher,
Oh, you miss your teacher. What is your teacher's name?
Miss Ridinger.
And what makes her a good teacher?
Sometimes she helps me and another friend.
So she always goes the extra mile for you. She always wants to help you, and you're really missing that right now.
Sometimes, when it's reading, she puts me in a small group with another friend.
And so she gives you a little bit extra attention, and that helps?
Yeah.
And does that help with some of your anxiety as well?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. You're lucky to have such a wonderful teacher like that. And do you get to still message your teacher? Have you been in contact with her?
Sometimes.
Okay.
We showed her. Mommy took a picture of our puppies, and she took a picture of her little puppies.
Wow, that's special.
Stu and I have to. So basically, wherever she is, we technically have 4 together.
Yeah, you connected with her through your puppies, hey?
Yeah.
And what are your puppies' names?
Duke and Chase.
Oh, those are cute names.
We named Chase from Paw Patrol.
Ah, and is that one of your favorite shows?
Yeah.
Very cool. And Ashlyn, what else do you miss?
My friend.
Yeah? Do you have some special friends?
Yeah.
And do they go to the same school as you?
Yeah.
And have you tried to keep in touch with them as well?
I can't.
It's a bit.
They don't have the meetings like what we're doing now. It's all just posted online, so they don't really have interactions with their peers.
Oh. And I'm sure you miss that. Hey, just chatting with your friends as well. So there's been some tough things for you during this lockdown, but also it's been good because you've been with mom. So that's been a positive. Hey, that's great. And then the last thing I wanted to ask you, Ashlyn, and you're doing such a good job, is just any tips that you would give any children in South Africa or in the USA who have ADHD and are struggling a little bit with this lockdown. What tips would you give them?
Deep breath. It's okay. We're all into this together.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely advice, Ashlyn. Just take a deep breath and remember that we're all in this together. Hey, anything else, Ashlyn, that you wanted to add or anything you want to ask?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashlyn. Have a lovely day. I think it's really nice for kids to hear from another child, just that they're kind of going through the same sort of thing.
Sure, absolutely.
So yeah, maybe you can just give us a little bit of background. Just where do you live? What is your job or your career?
Sure. Well, we live in Ohio in the U.S. I actually own a childcare center nearby. And I mean, been doing that for 3 years now.
Great. Wow. Okay. And how and when did you go into the lockdown isolation in Ohio? How did that happen?
Sure. Well, it seems like over here, every state kind of does their own thing. We haven't had like a national lockdown.
Yeah.
So my facility, I closed our doors March 20th, just because everybody was starting to get scared and they were pulling their kids out. So I closed our doors. The kids were out of school as of March 13th. They closed school, was the last day for them, and the teachers literally got 24-hour notice.
Sure.
Our state went into lockdown around March 26th, where it was essential employees only.
Yes.
So we've had a stay-at-home order since then.
Okay, and are there any things that you can do? Are you allowed to go out and exercise? Are you allowed to walk your pets?
Yep, so we have to maintain 6 to 10 feet distance from other people. We are allowed outside to do walks and things like that, so we try to get outside, especially in our backyard, as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
We are allowed to go grocery shopping. All of our restaurants, obviously everything's closed down. We can do takeout and things like that. They just put into place a couple of days ago that you have to have masks on now when you do go grocery shopping, and they've limited the number of people in and out. So ours was supposed to be till April 6th, and they extended it till around May 4th, and we're assuming it's probably going to be extended past that.
What have the implications of this lockdown been on you and your family, and having a child with ADHD?
Sure. I mean, I think at the beginning, the toughest was I was still working full time when she was out of school. So just kind of having trying to learn to balance in such a quick amount of time. You know, I have 2 other girls, so I think it's been really difficult trying to balance 3 different completely grade levels, 3 different learning styles, 3 different ways the teachers are putting everything online for the kids. In fact, my older 2 have been trying to teach me how to use Zoom and how to get their lessons, imported and things like that. So, I mean, I think it was a learning curve for me. But I don't think, as far as implications, I don't think there's been any negative out of it. I think it was just learning new routine.
Okay. So really just focusing on how you're going to manage the new way of being within the confines of your house, and also navigating the technology side of things, having to do a lot more things online. Okay. And how has Ashlyn sort of adapted to being at home?
I think she really likes it. She's able to work at her own pace instead of trying to keep up with a full classroom. If she needs a break, she can get up. There's no implications in that standard that, you must sit or you must do this.
Yeah.
She is medicated. So, we try to let the medication lapse for a day or 2, and we've noticed that can't happen. She definitely, is a child that needs the medication to function normally for her. But she loves it. Her anxiety's been much, much lower. Wow. She's not as ping pong bouncing everywhere. Mm-hmm. She can kind of rotate through her day at her time.
So it sounds like she's almost more contained emotionally. Yes. Being at home, like you said, she can do things at her own pace. If she needs to move, she can move. So it's almost a benefit for her as she's just running as it.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And what is the background of ADHD in the family? What has your journey been?
Well, Ashlyn's our only one with diagnosis. There has not been any diagnosis on either side of the family or with her go sit down. Or with her older sister. So she's our special our special journey.
Yes.
You need to walk away, please. She had a rough delivery, so we don't know if implications from her birth have actually caused more. Ashlyn's kind of complex. She has ADHD, but she's also been diagnosed with sensory processing disorder and a ton of learning disabilities. So she struggles daily.
Yeah, so it's complex and complicated.
Yes.
And it's been something to navigate because you mentioned you've got older children. So this has been quite a different and surprising journey probably for you and your family. Yes.
But very rewarding at the same time. I think she really teaches us to appreciate the little things. And she's always one that thinks differently than everybody. So her perspective on things is it's really neat to watch.
Yeah, and enlightening. That's lovely. And it sounds like you're quite open with her about ADHD. She's got an understanding of it.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She's included in on like her therapies. She does occupational therapy. She sees a psychiatrist. And she sits in on those meetings, and she very much has an opinion of how things are going or what she needs. And I think our middle daughter has some medical issues too, and I think the biggest reward as a parent is just being able to let these kids know that they can advocate for themselves and that they do have a voice regardless of diagnosis.
Absolutely, I love that. Just really letting, like you said, their voice be heard as well. It's their body, it's their brain. They're the best ones to be able to explain to us what's happening and what's going on. Okay.
Yes.
And what have been some of the biggest challenges just of your ADHD journey in general? I don't know if you're willing to share any of that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you need to wait. I think the biggest thing has just been learning about it and what I can do to effectively help her. And then sometimes just feeling as a parent that maybe you're not doing the right thing or feeling defeated. And just being able to speak up and, not in a nice way, but demand what you think your child needs, because ultimately we're their voice right now.
Yes.
So we have a really good team around her. She's got a parent advocate that helped us at school, and those kind of things to give her, exactly what she needs to function.
So what type of school is she in? Is it a smaller school? What is the setup?
Sure. So the public schools around here, so the city you live in obviously has like a public school. She did that for kindergarten, first, and part of second. We just had a really bad experience from the get-go with her public schools. Starting in kindergarten, just her behaviors being written off as just a behavior problem instead of looking at the bigger picture that there could be something else.
Yes.
For first grade, her teacher figured out that she was reading right to left instead of left to right, and she was diagnosed with dyslexia. And then second grade, the teacher wasn't willing to think outside the box or help children that didn't fit into her perfect classroom. Yeah. So I ended up homeschooling her for the rest of second grade while holding down a full-time job. So that was a whole other experience in itself.
Yes.
But for third grade, we found it's kind of like a charter school. So it's not really part of your school system. It's a couple cities away. It is definitely a smaller classroom. She has about 11 kids in her class. It is a combined 3-4, grades 3 and 4 classroom. And it has been fantastic for her because there are other kids just like her. So she doesn't feel like the odd one out.
Yeah, and it sounds like Ashlyn's got a very good relationship with her teacher as well.
Her teacher's phenomenal. Yeah, her teacher's absolutely phenomenal.
It makes a huge
difference. The best teacher ever.
That's amazing, Ashlyn. That's great. So it sounds like Ashlyn has had some experience with homeschooling. Would you say that has also helped during this lockdown time? Like it wasn't such a big decision?
Yeah, can you please sit down now? I think the homeschooling was much more difficult because we had to kind of come up with stuff on our own. and figure out like what was easiest for her much better, because the teacher's right there to support you. So you log in, she gets her work for the week, we print everything out, and then we work at her own pace. And there's always somebody there that I can reach out email wise, like, hey, I don't understand what you're trying to make her do, so explain it to me from the teacher end, which has made it really, really kind of fun and nice. And, you know, you get that relationship with the teacher as well on a different level than just, here's my kid for the day kind of thing.
Yes. And so will the teachers sort of check in with how things are going? Do you have to email them completed work? How do they structure it?
Yep. So we use Google Classroom. So everything's posted like under her teacher. Her intervention specialist is also under there. They post work. I usually print it for her, but I guess you're able to complete it like online and then like hit a submit button. That's too difficult for Ashlyn, so we print all her work and let her work on it. We scan it in an email and send it back to the teacher. The teacher checks in once a week with us, like, hey, here are my hours of this week. If you need anything, please let me know. They were trying to maybe come up with like a Zoom activity where all the kids could log in and see each other, thinking that might help. But the teacher's been great. She's been sending like videos out to the kids, and you know, anytime we want to chat, she emails right back. So we feel like there's open communication all the time.
Yes, and it sounds like they're still putting an effort to make a connection with each child as well, which is important. And the feedback from the school, are they also thinking things are going to be extended and this is going to carry on for quite a while?
So my oldest, she's a junior. She's at the same school as my youngest. Their school, they're just taking it a day at a time. My middle child is at our public school, and she's a freshman in high school. And the way they send work to the kids and the way they're talking, I think they know that we're not going to be going back this year. And we've had some states around us already cancel school for the rest of the year. So I'm sure we're on the same track. I just can't imagine sending kids back for 3 weeks, you know, at the end of the year. I just don't think it's worth, you know, the risk of exposure. And two, I just think that would be another notch, you know, for them. I think it would be more stressful to send them back for just a matter of weeks.
Yes. So in America, your school year is different to ours.
Yes.
So when does the school year end?
So typically we start around August, the end of August, and we go till, depending on grade level, end of May, beginning of June, like first week of June, and then we're out for the summer.
Okay, yes. So then it does make sense. They're not really going back, just finish things off as they are. And then hopefully after your summer break, things are looking a little bit
I hope so.
better. You mentioned that Ashlyn has, did you say it's a specialist who works with her at school?
Yes. So when your child has certain diagnosis here, they have what's called an intervention specialist, and that person, they set up goals for the child. So like Ashlyn, one of her goals is, because she is dyslexic and has a hard time reading, is getting her to work with her to get up to her grade level. Currently, she currently reads at like a good first to early second grade reading level. So this person would pull her out of, you know, classes and work with her one-on-one for about, it's really not a lot of time. It equals about a half hour to an hour a week, which I don't think is enough. But we have a parent advocate that also helps us, who kind of knows the rules of the states for special education and kind of advocates for us to help us say, you know, no, that's not enough time for her, or this is what she needs, and that kind of thing. So that's been a real blessing too, to have, you know, some extra support.
Absolutely. That's amazing. We've chatted briefly kind of about how your experience has been. What have been maybe some of the biggest surprises or positives from the lockdown experience so far?
Absolutely. I think just being able to slow down has been amazing. Because I've been working full time, since my girls were, since they were born. So just to be able to sit back and kind of like see them as they are now and kind of be able to take this time. We don't do family vacations or anything like that. We are a two income family. So to get time off is, usually like a long weekend. So I've kind of turned this into like, even though it's a staycation that we're staying home, it's kind of nice just to spend time with my girls and see, what's going on in their life and hang out with them. And we've been doing lots of like science kits and making messes and, learning, and it's been really fun.
That's great. So just kind of still trying to see the positives from the situation, trying to
Absolutely.
make the most out of it. It also sounds like you've had to be quite creative.
Yes.
Do you find that with having a child with ADHD, you need to almost be more creative to keep them busy and interested?
Yeah, so she likes to do a lot of hands-on things to keep her hands busy. So we do a lot of like science kits. Yesterday she just did like a block. It was a sand block, and she had to like dig and chisel away all the dirt to find gems and rocks and things like that. And it took a good hour and a half.
So that was great.
Yeah, so things like that, as long as her hands are busy, she tends to feel more relaxed. When she is in quiet space, her symptoms or her tics per se tend to become larger. So as long as she's busy, she does very well.
Okay. And you mentioned that she does see a psychiatrist. Does that relationship continue during the lockdown period via Zoom? Or how are therapists doing it there in America?
Yeah, so it's kind of split down the road. So mental health has been considered an essential. So some mental health places are still seeing clients in person. Some are doing telehealth, which is, Skyping, basically video chatting. Her doctor does not do the video chatting. They're trying to get it set up. So her last appointment was actually over the phone, just to check in with her. They have canceled all, like her occupational therapy. They have canceled all of the pediatric therapies available. So no physical therapy or occupational therapy at this time.
Okay. And we kind of have chatted about it, but just anything else you wanted to add in terms of strategies that you've used to approach the isolation period while having a child with ADHD?
Everything I had read and the websites I had gone to all said, try to stick with a schedule, try to, and I kind of just threw it out the window. I mean, as parents, we know what's best for our children, and I think they give us the clues and the cues of what they need. And I think the biggest strategy and the best advice is just listen to your kid. Like that's what we did. We tried a structured schedule to make her feel like she was at school, where we did, a subject an hour, and it didn't really work for her because I'm not school and I'm not her teacher and I'm not, we don't have the school desk and things like that. So I think just taking a deep breath and realizing that everybody's going through the same thing, and you just kind of learn as you go, and just following cues from her has made it super, super easy.
Wow. So just really being attuned to her and listening to her sort of cues, like you mentioned, and then just going with that. Because like you said, you do know your child better than any other professional or parent, and you found that to be really effective.
Very effective, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jody. Was there anything else you wanted to add or anything?
No, I'm excited to see the final thing so we can get the, the other parent interview. It's very unique to see how different, depending on where you are, how different things run.
Yeah, no. How did you find our page on Facebook?
So, unfortunately, I don't think that there's a lot of tools that focus over here in the States on ADHD. Over here, they focus a lot on autism and kids on the autism spectrum. So it was very frustrating to me as a parent that we didn't have, it's hard to find like a support group or, something that would help us. So when I, did a search to look for groups or pages, you guys seem to have a lot of information and a lot of, even though we're in different countries, just different ideas and, to say like, hey, we're not alone and, that kind of thing. And then we also watch, and she'll watch it with me too on YouTube. Can't think of her name, but How to ADHD.
Yes.
So we watch her a lot too. And it's just, I think it makes her feel so great that, she's not the only one out there. struggles.
Absolutely. And I think it'll be great for her to watch the video and see another child as well who's also going through something similar on a completely opposite side of the world.
Absolutely. That's what she's most excited for.
Yeah,
So.
that's great. Well, Jody, I really appreciate you chatting to us and giving us your insights. And I am just so pleased to see how you and your family have embraced this lockdown period. You're taking it from the positives and you're seeing the benefits for Ashlyn as well through that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we appreciate what you do. And, thank you so much for having an outlet for us parents and stuff. Thanks, Jess. You guys stay safe and healthy as well.
Yes, you guys too. Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.